current rock scene is an extremely diverse and multicultural genre, with there being a wide variety of different artists making music in the niche. But 20 years ago, it was a very different space, with the norm being all-male Christian bands in the spotlight. But one band stood out thanks to the, at the time, rare inclusion of a female vocalist, Paramore. The small Tennessee band went from unknown to a chart-topping Grammy-winning band with lots of hard work and dedication. With the recent release of the band's new album This Is Why after a 4-year hiatus, now is the perfect time to see how the band has grown and developed over the years, paving the way for future artists in the scene. The band initially formed in 2002. After a 13-year-old Hayley Williams met lead guitarist and drummer Josh and Zach Farrow in an after-school program. With Williams being signed to Atlantic Records the next year, the label originally wanted Williams to be a solo pop artist, but she pushed back and insisted on being able to stay in the band and write with them, with the label eventually allowing her to do so. With bassist Jeremy Davis and rhythm guitarist Jason Bynum joining the band in 2004, the group officially began writing their first album, All We Know Is Falling. The group faced their first hurdle when bassist Davis left the group for a 5-month period during the writing and recording of their debut album. This departure heavily influenced the themes of the record, with it becoming centered on how the band felt empty without him. But with his return, the band released the album and began touring. With the lead single Pressure being certified gold, the band performing at big festivals like Warped Tour and being called the best new band by Kerrang! However, the band's successful debut was dampened by the loss of both original guitarist Jason Bynum and his replacement Hunter Lamb in the space of 2 years. The band decided to continue on as a quartet for their follow-up album. Their next album also had some issues with bassist Davis once again leaving the band, but this time he was reportedly kicked out for his lack of work ethic. However, it wasn't long before he was let back in, as well as the addition of longtime friend of the band, Taylor York, as the band's new guitarist. With this lineup, the band released Riot to great success, with them being nominated as Best New Artist at the Grammys and performing at the Vans Warped Tour. From the outside, it looked like the band was doing great, but in reality, it was all about to change. For quite some time, there had been some growing tension between guitarist Josh Farrow and singer Hayley Williams. The two had dated for some time, but had broken up shortly before the release of Riot, and during the production of their third album, Brand New Eyes, arguments began to break out over lyrics and other things like religion. Farrow had often complained that the media only focused on Williams and not the other members of the band, and that they weren't being treated fairly by their management company, eventually leading to Josh and his brother Zach leaving the band 1 year after their third album, Brand New Eyes, was released. The Farrows' departure was messy, with Josh writing an out infamous blog post about why he and Zach left the band, making it clear that there was bad blood between them and Williams. Despite this, the band continued now as a trio, releasing several singles and an EP before finally 3 years after the Farrows' exit, the band released their fourth self-titled album, Paramore, reflecting the band's new start without 2 of its founding members. This album was the band's most successful yet, reaching #1 on the Billboard Top 100 and the song Ain't It Fun winning the Grammy for Best Rock Song. But with this high, the band hit an all-time low when Davis once again left the band in 2015, this time for final. Davis then entered several legal battles with the band over ownership of songs and royalties. With all this trouble, Williams began to severely struggle with her mental health, describing it as torment, causing her to briefly leave the band, leaving guitarist Taylor York as the only member. But York refused to give up, convincing Williams to come back, as well as getting former drummer Zach Farrow to rejoin for their fourth album, After Laughter. With this trio back together, they released their comeback album in 2017 with a drastically different sound to their prior work. The band seemed to be at their best now, free of internal conflict, but hit headlines when they announced they would stop performing one of their most popular songs, Misery Business, due to a sexist line in its second verse, which is a choice they would later reverse in 2022. After this successful comeback, the band decided to take a hiatus, as they felt very burnt out, having not taken a proper break since the band started. But in 2022, after 4 years without any new music, the band announced its new album, This Is Why, releasing it in February this year to great reception. Currently, the band is the most popular they have ever been. Thanks to a few of their songs becoming popular on TikTok and the decades of hard work they have put in, they managed to keep going despite the challenges they have faced and continue to grow and mature in the constantly changing music industry, using their platform to support others and raise awareness on multiple social issues, and they show no signs of slowing down.